Yo guys, Wagwan, it's your boy. We're back on A Certified podcast.
Okay.
Afro Samurai.
Yeah, Afro Samurai. We have now all seen it. I watched it in between now and recording this episode and the last. And
I don't want to kill nobody here.
You're gonna wanna. Let's just get into it. I didn't like it. I did not like the anime. I'd say it's like a C tier anime.
I just swallowed my gum. Fuck. But
Wow.
yeah, not as we were saying before we started recording, there's different reasons of why like everybody likes it. Everybody likes Afro Samurai.
And there's
But before that, let's start of why you don't like it.
First of all, I'm sorry if you heard the bottle of Coke opening. That's just me.
This is why. This is why
we should have Ryan on. Otherwise, I have to do it. While
Yes.
Ryan's a little bit busy, I have to be the one to make all the noise. I've got Jaffa cakes with me as well. If you want me to bring that back.
No. Please don't.
So, but yeah, what was that, Edson?
What are your thoughts? So let me hear your thoughts on.
Okay, so the story is as basic as it comes. It is a revenge story. There isn't much more to it. The world building is like very minimal. There is like, you only need to know. It tells you only what you need to know. It's not like it expands on it in a way where like where we only know. Okay, there are the two headbands. You got number 1 and number 2. Number 2 can take on number 1. Anyone can take on number 2. But then, hang on. Are we going into spoilers?
Yes, yes, we're going into the whole shebang here.
All right, the anime is at least 10 years old.
Like a spoiler, yeah, it's pretty much 10 years old.
We'll just say this is spoilers. Sum up real quickly. I didn't like it. Ty, you love it, don't you? It's one of your favorites, isn't it?
This anime is absolutely outstanding. Samuel Jackson hits it hard, okay? He comes hard in this character. He says everything he needs to say. He absolutely talks his shit. There's not a moment in the anime where he's not talking. It's absolutely brilliant. I suggest everyone go watch it. Josh is absolutely chatting shit again. Yes.
And so what do you think of it?
That's
My guy. There's different, like, for me, there's different ways to approach how you watch Afro Samurai. First, the way that I approached it is because I know that RZA was doing the music for it, at least for Resurrection, the movie Resurrection. So I decided to.
RZA did the whole music for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I will praise. I really do like the music.
The music is
That
fucking amazing.
bruv, it's my ringtone. The theme song is my ringtone. The theme song's my ringtone.
I like it as well. It sort of feels like a throwback to like 90s, like, you know, when you get like Men in Black and other films that would get like the rap, like not like the Venom Eminem did a couple years ago. Like, it feels like that, and like I really like that.
Honestly.
The music is my biggest, like, I think it's my biggest praise of the whole show. It's just like, I really like it. But yeah, go on, Edson.
Like, and I've seen it a long time ago, and just the fact that I can still remember it vividly, like it speaks much to me, you know. Like the music, even like I think one of my favorite pieces is when the bear hat guy, totally forgot his name.
I'm horrible with remembering names. I can't remember his name.
It's like the guy is one of the guys that he fought.
I know who you're talking.
Uses like the red bear hat that
the thing that's just to hide all the breathing apparatus underneath.
Yeah. And I think it was one of his songs, but it was like so somber, and it was like this Japanese guitar, and then there was like somebody like kind of detuned, but it was like a good detuned way of singing it.
See, I'm like horrible at remembering like music tracks.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's like a song that I know, like the only thing from the Purge, like the first Purge that I remember, and that's the 2018, the first Purge, not the 2013, the Purge. The only thing I remember, like the only thing musically I remember from that film is A, the sirens that's in every Purge, and B, All Right by Kendrick Lamar playing at the end. Because that's a fucking banger.
Yeah, honestly, I should be remembering this because fucking I listen to that shit all the time. But as soon as I find it, I'll send it to you guys as well, and I'll put it on the description,
Mm.
so the other guys can listen to it as well.
Yeah.
But the music is so somber, and I fucking love it as well. Um, that is one way to approach it, like to listen to it because of the music. The second is the fucking aesthetic. You're not gonna tell me
Yes,
that you're looking at
yes,
Afro Samurai, and you're
yes, yes,
telling me
yes,
that you
yes.
do not like the aesthetic of this anime.
I think
Like
it's a very hit and miss thing because
like
the thing
well,
the
go
thing
ahead.
is
Wow,
if when you
wow,
pause it
this guy's
and
really chatting shit here.
if you pause it and
Uh,
look at like a still, it looks so good. Like it
yeah,
looks amazing when you like just look at it as still. Like the image that you're seeing on screen now looks really great.
really amazing.
The
Yeah.
problem is I don't think it translates as well to animation. Like the way it's animated, the way like some things stop almost and then take ages to swing into like a bunch of really quick movements. I'm not a big fan of that style of animation.
Hmm.
Like
I wouldn't say like me. It's like again, as you said, it's hit or miss with that. Uh, I do remember like loving the thing. I'm gonna pull out some video clips over here from Afro Samurai. Like
what,
I
you
remember
looking
one.
them
I
up on
think
your
it was in
phone?
the movie. I remember like one when it was in the in the movie. Like I think it was the beginning of the movie when he was. I think it was fishing.
Yeah, that was quite
Yeah,
cool.
Um,
That was cool. I think the film is better than the actual anime.
yeah, the movie is miles away. Like because of course it has a higher budget.
Not even that. Like, I just think the
Um,
film it did one thing that really set it above the anime, which made me love it, like or not love it. Like I appreciate it more than the anime because I give them both a C grade. They're both
yeah,
like I'd give them both a C, but the film is above because of purely like. And I think now it's time to get into spoilers.
go ahead.
There is one kid and running forward. He's being kidnapped, and when we meet him, and Afro kills the guy who's kidnapping him, and then the guy with the number 2 headband is his dad or the guy looking after him,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
and the kid's revenge mission, the way he's following him through the desert. And then at the end, like when Afro hands him the number 2 headband and says that when you're ready, like I
Oh yeah, he
love
did
that.
that. Yeah, it's fucking amazing. It's like a never-ending cycle kind of thing
I,
that they left
it
the
us
thing
doesn't
I
end.
love
Yeah,
as well, like Afro's whole motivation was revenge,
with. Yeah,
yeah.
and
It
then
wasn't anything. I think that's quite refreshing because in a lot of these, in a lot of anime, they always have a noble cause. I want to be the best. I want to save lives and shit. After Samurai wasn't any of that. It was like, bruv, you killed my dad. I'm coming after you. There's no
exactly.
sense of, oh, I'm trying to be the best person. He's really he's not even a hero. He's just a,
He's an anti-hero,
see
kind of. Yeah,
the
I
problem
don't
I
even know if
have
he's
with
an
that.
anti-hero though. Is he an anti-hero?
Let me actually bring this down a
yeah.
little
He
bit.
is.
Okay,
He
hang
feels like
on.
he's an anti-hero. He doesn't pretty much care about
I'll bring it
anything
here.
that doesn't take him to his goal. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah,
he's an
And if he's
anti-hero. I think he is an anti-hero
yeah,
because I mean, well, to be fair, is he even doing what's right? I don't think it's a case of a
exactly.
hero and a
No,
villain.
he's not.
It's
He's
not.
not.
yeah,
I don't
this
even
is
think
not.
it's
This is not
just
like a hero tale of like, oh, heroes and villains. This is pretty much like, and not even a
2 people. It's
like questioning, oh, how far would you go for revenge, and or what would you do to get your revenge? It's just straight up revenge.
that's the
It's
that's
simple.
that's the
That and it
that
feels
I think
intentional.
it's that simplicity that I think really does like that really makes it feel like it's missing something for me because
Mm.
the most interesting part like is when he has to kill his sensei. I mean,
Yeah,
the guy he's been training under when he has to kill him because he is the number 2.
he is the number 2, and he challenged him, and
And then everybody else is like, no, you can't do this. You can't kill our master. And then,
Yeah.
so we're going to have to kill you. And then that just from a storytelling perspective, I think is great. I think it's some really good stuff. Like, the problem is, I didn't care about Afro.
I'll have to give you, yeah, I'll have to give you that. The story is like, yeah, we're following Afro in his revenge story, but
But we get
they
hardly
did
any...
flesh out more of how is it affecting everybody else around him. then
Yeah,
I would
that would have
like
been
that
a better
would feel
thing to
like a
see.
My
fucking
favorite,
masterpiece,
my
you know what I mean?
favorite part of the show, the thing that I remember the most, the thing that I thought, okay, this is really good, was when in the first episode when he walks into that bar and everyone's like, "Oh no, he's here, he's here." That whole like that building up, that almost fear of Afro Samurai is like, okay, that is really cool. That's like really good world building. They just never really
Yeah.
they never really expanded on it. And as well, I think this is something you said that Samuel L. Jackson killed it. I think Samuel L. Jackson is the most annoying character.
He absolutely killed it.
He's
Samuel L.
no.
Jackson in this
He
film.
did
Samuel
both of
L.
the
Jackson
voices,
in this.
right?
Did he do
He
both
did
of the
Yes.
voices?
Yes, he
I
did. Yes,
think
he
he
did.
did
Yes,
He
both
he
of
did.
killed it as Afro. I think Afro is great. He did not kill it as the I can't even remember his
The
name.
ninja
I
guy.
just the other guy. I just wanted to punch him in his face the whole time. I just wanted him to shut up. And every
loved him.
do you know
That's exactly like the point. Like it was supposed to be somebody that it's even left ambiguous if the guy is even real or not. Because it's just somebody that like is just there to annoy Afro and to talk to him and give exposition of the story.
and
You
that's
know
it's
what-
just
you know what I
so
mean?
I feel like it's so lazy. It's so like Afro is almost a silent protagonist. He is almost like this guy who just never talks. The only times he talks is when he's telling like this other Sam Jackson character to shut the fuck up. That's the only time he ever talks. And the thing is so annoying because it's like I'm thinking it the whole time, and then Afro says it, and it's like, okay, are you going to have any other character? Are you going to speak anything else? No. Okay, so why are you telling him to shut up? Why is he even here? It feels like he shouldn't be there because he's there is to be annoying and give exposition. I don't like
Nah,
it.
again, like it feels like he's there for like an ulterior motive because of course like it feels like I'm not sure what category that falls under. I'm not sure that no, that is definitely not schizophrenia. Because Afro had like a really traumatic past. He saw his dad die in front of him, and he didn't have nobody else. So it feels like it was like a figment of his imagination to him just like
That
have
would
somebody
be.
to
I think
talk
that
and
would be
just, like,
schizophrenia. To be fair.
really.
Yeah.
I just didn't
Yeah.
think because schizophrenia,
Sorry,
like, it
I'm-
feels like I think schizophrenia falls under more like voices, hearing voices and stuff like that.
To be fair, if he
And,
is
like-
seeing and hearing this guy, that is definitely schizophrenia. Because it's
Yeah.
hearing his voice.
His name is
Yeah.
Ninja, by the way.
Ninja. Yeah, he annoyed me too much to care. Right.
Listen, Ninja, absolutely. Listen.
One thing I did
listen.
really like, and I think the film is a step up from the anime,
Yeah.
in the way that I really did like the visual, like, colour grading of the film.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, especially in the movie. Like,
Yeah, the colours.
They didn't even show him like his brown skin. His skin was literally like black, like just literally black and gray.
Grey. It was like
Yeah.
a grey. It was like a grey colour.
One thing that I did
Like, I've
really
never seen-
like, I really like it when films and like TV, anime, anything, it gets really stylized with the lighting. Like when
Fucking
Yeah.
Sin City, John Wick.
yeah,
oh
like
my
stuff like that.
goodness.
When my favorite bits in a film were when like he was like when I think he's seen his dad early on, and it
Yeah.
was like his everything is red except for him with he is blue,
Yeah.
and then the festival.
Oh yeah,
and
that
then,
was sick.
and then the festival scene when like loads of people
Yeah.
were like blue and
Yeah.
and
Can we also talk about? Sorry to cut you. I want to talk about the whole festival scene and the aesthetic again because I love the merge of. To be interviewed, this film is brilliant. The reason why I love it is because you get such a perfect merge.
I love the visual style of it. The whole presentation of like the lighting, the colouring. I think that looked great throughout the whole like, not even like just the whole show, but the whole film as well. I think that looked great.
Absolutely. It's literally like they took like the style of the manga and just literally stamped it over like an animation.
That's actually there is
Yeah.
something that it really does interest me about this. The whole film, like the whole like not the film, the whole show is based off of a manga, but
Yeah.
the manga it's made by Japanese people. The companies, like the directors, it's Japanese, but it's made strictly with like an English voice cast in mind. I don't know if there's a Japanese version because
I don't know.
No,
They're
I don't
probably
think
made.
there's-
There may be.
the
I
Blu-ray
feel like-
only has the dub.
Yeah, the director is Takashi Okazaki,
Hmm.
but there is no like Japanese
Which I think that is really
like
interesting.
naturalists.
I honestly think that is really interesting that there's this. It's this sort of like Japanese American crossover that really does like that really does use a lot of American like just is very it feels very American, while also
Yeah, it
feeling
feels-
very anime.
Exactly, and that's the third point that I want to get into, is that being a Japanese anime and especially made Americanized, and it's I think it is right. Like he's the first
It's genius. It's genius.
anime protagonist that we
Yes.
had that is black.
Yeah. I
Is he
think
really the
this is why
first?
I love the film.
I think he
Yes,
might be the
he
first
probably is.
anime.
He probably
yeah,
is. He
That's
probably
why
is. And
you
this is why I love it
guys
so much.
that's why
Yes.
you guys like it
Yes.
probably so much more than me.
absolutely.
Yes.
Because
Yes. Yes.
it's it's like a great not I wouldn't say great representation, but at least it's because the guy's out for revenge. But it's just really cool to have somebody relatable, to
Yeah.
have
That's
in
why Black Panther.
such
Why do you think Black Panther was such a hit?
Yeah.
Why do you think
exactly
Black
yeah.
Panther was such a hit? Like with Black Panther, I remember me and Josh did another podcast on that.
Uh-huh.
This Black Panther is probably one of the most revolutionary film for Black people, and the only people that can say that, I'm sorry, I'm saying it right now, is Black people. You can't have Edson. If you agree with me, you can't have a white person saying, "Oh, Black Panther wasn't the most revolutionary film for Black people." Are you Black? No, you're not Black, so you're not qualified.
You
to talk
cannot
about
really
this.
say that,
You're
yeah,
not.
because
Yeah, I don't. I
Um,
know. Speaking as a white guy, I can't comment on the whole on how it affects black people, but I can comment on it as a film,
no,
and it is a good film.
It's not that you cannot comment. It's difficult for you to comment because,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
like you do not know the culture, and even if you knew the culture, of course, like it will your opinion would kind of be overlooked because you didn't.
Oh yeah,
have it,
100%.
even if you.
But
Knew.
yeah,
But it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that your point is not valid. It is still valid, you know. But coming from our perspective, we didn't have too much black representation in like anime, cartoons, and even like mainstream media.
Mm.
We had Fillmore, we had Static Shock got canceled. Fillmore, like nobody remembers Fillmore really. There's a really good clip
Static
of Tyler
Shock.
the Creator. Yeah, Static Shock was great.
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Like there's an absolutely great clip of Tyler on Comic Con when he was presenting his new show on Adult Swim and talking about this. Like we do not have any kind of we do like black people don't have like a great representation on media and don't have like many good shows at the moment. I mean, at the moment we do have some great shows like Craig of the
Yeah,
Creek.
we have a
and,
lot.
like,
To be fair, we have a lot, man. We have a lot now.
yeah, we have a lot, but it's
It's,
not.
you know,
It's still like underwhelmed considering of what
Yeah,
everybody else
compared
has.
to
You
yeah,
know?
100%.
And that is
100%.
why Black Panther has been such a hit by being a mediocre movie because
I don't even think it's a mediocre film.
They can relate.
I actually think it's
I don't.
pretty good.
It would have been better. It could be better.
It definitely could have been better. I think like the third act could have been more interesting, like with a sort of battle that it was, because I think
it was really misplaced. Like there was a lot of CGI, especially that we know.
Yeah,
that
it was very noticeable as well. That's what I did
Exactly.
really like about that film was the whole everything in Korea was really cool.
yeah,
like, the
everything
whole-
in Korea was really cool.
The car chase, the bit,
all of the sceneries were absolutely awesome. Like,
And the
especially
music.
Wakanda as well.
and the
the
music
one
was
thing
great.
Incredible.
Yeah, I love that.
It was the same
sorry, I just
producer
comment.
that does like Kendrick Lamar songs. I think we
It
talked
was
about this in-
Top Dog, yeah. They did the
Yeah,
soundtrack.
And
One thing I want to
honestly,
comment.
and yeah, that's why
Go on,
that's
Ty.
why like we love Afro Samurai that much because it's one of the first representations that we had in black media, and just being a simple story about revenge. It's I don't think at least for the black community, like I mean in my perspective, like as an anime fan, it could be a lot better in the writing perspective, but like just having that representation is just so good.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
And I agree with you. That's what, just seeing that it's made in America. I think that was genius. I think.
I
think
don't.
I'm
I
so
don't think the
happy
show
that
was
they've
actually
done-
made in America. I think it was just like
No,
it had
the
American.
director was Takashi Okazaki. It was a Japanese production, but
It was
they grabbed,
Japanese
like-
production, Japanese. It was Japanese director, Japanese production, but it had an American cast and American music
yeah,
because it was
Yuri-
inspired by American like hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
again,
why they
and
brought
again,
RZA to do the soundtrack.
And you know,
Yuri.
RZA voices the DJ in the film.
Yeah. RZA voices like RZA voices the DJ. Mark Hamill is Ben. Yuri Lowenthal is also in the movie, the voice of Sasuke and the new Spider-Man movie.
Into the
Lucy,
Spider-Verse. Is that the one you're
yeah.
talking about?
No,
Yeah.
no. Yuri, like the Spider-Man PS4
Oh,
game.
that game is
Yeah.
so good. That is my
Oh my
favorite
God.
PS4 game of all
Really?
time. Yeah.
It's so great. The game is absolutely amazing.
I love it. Oh my god, that is such a good game.
If only we had a gaming podcast.
Yeah. To be fair, I would talk. I don't think there's anything like I couldn't talk about sports. That's it. Like I think like I could probably do a music podcast, film podcast, game podcast, TV show podcast, anime podcast, anything.
True.
Honestly,
To be honest, that's true.
But yeah, no, this but Afro Samurai. One thing I do think Afro Samurai would have definitely.
I want to comment. Sorry, I want to comment. I want to go. Oh, because I don't feel like I'm.
Go on then, comment.
Huh? What?
With it being casted by American again, so I think it's genius because with hip hop and whatever, you got to think, where does that all come from? It's black. It's black, and I feel like that's amazing. Just because they could have done one route, going with the really strong black African route, just because the anime is called Afro Samurai, and Afro is obviously accounting to black people. I haven't seen a white person with Afro. I may be wrong, but you know.
I mean, there's people with Afro, like there's white people with Afro.
Yeah, I think. What's it? Red Food from
when you think
LMFAO.
of Afro, when you think of Afro, you think of black people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that being said, I'm happy they went with the American casting because a lot of American culture is built around black people. The whole thing, true, is built on slavery, and obviously slaves, black people, Africa. I feel like that was amazing just because putting the American casting, they got a lot of that out. They managed to ingrain the music with the Japanese culture, and that's one thing I really love. I love to see, not only because I'm a black person, but I also like to see our cultures merge with other things, especially Japanese culture, just because I'm a big fan of the culture anyway. Anime, samurai, Afro Samurai, on the whole, I feel like that was amazing. Going back to what you said, Josh, about the scene in Black Panther when they were in Korea, that's another thing I love. Again, it's merged with Oriental culture, and it's merged with black culture. So I really think that this anime is amazing, and I really like it, and I watch it again and again and again. And Samuel Jackson, I think, me personally, I loved him with both characters, with Afro and with the other character. I thought it was good to get both tastes of the character. Like, I don't know, Edson was the character, I don't know what his name was, it actually a subconscious, or was it like someone who was following him? Which one do you know?
What, Ninja?
Yeah, Ninja. Was that his subconscious or an actual
It feels
character?
like I don't think it's confirmed.
Like
I don't think it's confirmed, but I read it on the wiki. I read it on the wiki that it feels like if like Afro created him like as a figment of his imagination to cope with like his father's death and stuff like that. So like something to give him like just somebody for him to have around.
That would make sense to be fair, because when he was at his lowest, I say at his lowest, when he got the number 2 headband by killing like everybody at his sword school, that was, if I remember correctly, that was the first time that he showed up.
Yeah. And
when he lost everybody, that was when he showed up. So that would make sense.
It would make sense, but because of that as well, people say that he might be a guardian of the second the number 2 headband.
If he was a guardian in a number 2 headband, he wouldn't have left in the film right when he's about to fight the main bad guy.
The guys,
but there's just theories around it, But yeah, he's just like it feels like he's just like a figment of his imagination, because I think that nobody can see him, but he's the only one who can.
Yeah.
See, just to circle back like a little bit, my problem with the anime, I think, is the story. I think it just could have used a little bit more, like a better structure. I think because it starts
a better polish.
No, I think it's just the structure mainly, because it starts off really strong. We get one episode, and then Afro's crippled. okay, he needs spending an episode healing. We're looking back, but I don't care because I've only spent 25 minutes with this guy. Why do I care what his childhood was like? I already saw enough that he saw his father get killed. So now we have to see more. Like, I feel like they put the flashbacks.
It could have used a good structure for sure, but
I
do think that they didn't care too much about the the story. I guess it was just like an action. Do you know, one of those typical action?
Yeah, but they
anime.
also had so much more going on. Like, they had all of the flashback stuff. They had the girl who he had sex with, and first of all,
when his dad came back as a goddamn android like that.
Oh, like, what, the Afrobot?
Yeah.
See, I think like
that
there is so much
fucking crazy.
I don't think that wasn't his dad. That was like they were using his memories.
Mm-hmm.
They were because I remember she got close to him to get the memories, and that's why we got the anime sex scene. Which, by the way, I don't like sex scenes in anime, just because I'm not that just not my thing.
Yeah, just to show off. I don't know. I don't seem to mind it unless it connects with story and shit like that. Which
it did. It definitely connected with the story, like the one in Afro Samurai.
100%.
It really it felt like narratively like this is needed. My problem with the show, I think, and if I do call it a film, it's because I watched it like a film.
Mm-hmm.
I just sat and binged the whole thing in one go. But the show, for me, like we get all of this. We get this one introduction episode where Afro ends up getting hurt and needing time to recover. I feel like this should have been like the third or fourth episode. That should have been something that sort of we've spent time with Afro, so we know, oh shit, this is actually a big thing. And then we get the flashbacks. Because now that we've spent more time with him, now that we care a little bit more, we can have the flashbacks. But because it's the second episode where we start getting all these flashbacks, I didn't care. I just wasn't invested enough. And then, after that, the rest of the show is visually either in flashbacks or in the snowy mountain.
I guess it's like one of those things. It's like they showed you the action, and then they tried to shove you the lore kind of like in your face. It's like, oh, you see the action, but do you want to know what this character is like? Do you know what I mean?
There are a few questions I have as well about the world, because we see like cell phones and all of that, like mobile phones. Yeah. But it then also looks like it's set in feudal Japan.
What time frame?
No, that's a nitpick. I would consider that a nitpick, because these motherfuckers had fucking robots, bro.
Exactly. And then there's all these people
that's confusing.
It's one of those things where I will nitpick it because it took me out of it. The show didn't have me invested enough to not notice it. And the thing that also, like, there was so many things, like the crab, like, robot looking scientist guy. I can't remember his name.
It's just, I guess it's one of those, like, fusion shit. It happens all the time with, like, especially, like, I keep mentioning in every single podcast, the one that Ryan recommended, the one with the fucking giant robots in feudal
Iron Blooded Orphans.
Yeah. No, not Iron Blooded Orphans. The one from JC staff.
Oh, I think I remember.
Yeah.
The one where the guy's running away and he's a bastard son or whatever. It was that one.
The one with the titties, with the robot and the titties in the.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that one. You know, it's just one of those, and it's just like there's a lot of science fiction shit on it. You know, Afrobot. There's the guy, one of the motherfuckers that he fights with a fucking bazooka. Like,
the thing is, I don't believe it. It doesn't, like, a lot of it doesn't mesh. It doesn't seem to like mesh well. And,
you know, it's quirky, and I love it, especially like with the fucking bear thing as well. I like the breathing mask.
I think if it, my thing again,
I think again it matched with the aesthetic. Like, for me, I can see it was a bit confusing, but I did grow to love it.
I think
it's set in Japan, but then you've also been very.
I think if the structure had given just a little bit more time in the beginning to really get to know Afro, to really like, okay, we've spent like a good hour of screen time with him.
Yeah.
Then
not even to know Afro, because again, it's
and to build the world up.
Yeah, the world is what matters more, because Afro is literally like the silent protagonist that the only thing that he will care about is revenge. So is it more? It's
Revenge
more
and
like it falls
telling
under
was it Ninja Ninja? Telling him to shut
Ninja.
up.
Yeah, you know.
They're the two things that he seems to care about.
Yeah, and like it feels more like of how is this like what I wanted to know is how is this number two and number one headband um
That's the
like
thing as well. I
affecting
feel
the
like
world around it,
the
because we only seen a glimpse
climax,
of it, you know.
the thing as well, the climax of the show really was only like 10 minutes. Or not even
Yeah,
that, like the whole final confrontation was 10 minutes. You'd think with that much build up, that the final like not that much like the hell he went through to get there, it'd be a little bit longer and a little bit more memorable.
and
But
then again it's a
Yeah,
movie. Like
maybe.
I don't know what's the production
no,
like thing behind it, because there's only like 4 episodes
five.
and then a movie. Five episodes and then a movie. Like I really want to know why didn't continue it like with a series, because of course like
They did
like
set
five
up
episodes is
after.
not enough
Well, no, I
to,
think
to like
it's because it is a very short like the
a
story
short story.
is. Well, I don't think the source material is very long either. It is very like there's not much there, and
Mm,
the fact that I think either if they must have like either stripped a lot off of the manga,
yeah.
been very faithful to it, because I think what this needed was another episode or two before he gets injured, and then maybe an
Mm,
episode or two before he actually gets to the mountain, just to
yeah.
like build up a little bit to make it just a little bit more intense.
Yeah, I guess like yeah, I guess it does make sense. Yeah,
I don't.
it would have been more intense, but the anime in it of itself is a little bit really intense.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I found myself not
And I
caring.
guess and it feels like it's like one of the relics, because I don't know if it aged well.
I
God
think
damn
it
it, when
aged
like
quite well. To be fair, it looks
yeah,
great. I think they're
it still
hard.
looks
It
yeah, it
hardly
still
ever
looks great.
uses. It hardly ever
But
uses
now
CGI, which I think is
yeah,
really nice.
but now in this day and age, like when you have better, you
Even
know, than
then, like
Afro
the art,
Samurai.
I do think it really does like stand out. Like it doesn't feel like,
Yeah.
oh, this is mid
Mm.
2000s. Like yeah, you can compare the
No, it
Yeah.
animation.
definitely
Yeah.
doesn't feel
Yeah.
like mid 2000.
Yeah, you could
And again,
probably
if you
compare the animation like in quality to Death Note, but like or other animes of that time. But even then, it doesn't like.
mm,
I feel like it stands on its own. That is some. I do
yo,
think the
Death Note made the
presentation,
most though.
the
Death Note is
presentation.
like on another pedestal, because Death Note made the most for a fucking anime.
I think what I what I will say. I think final thoughts. The anime, its presentation in its music, in its visuals, it can be amazing. I
Mhm.
mean, it doesn't always animate like the best.
Yeah.
I don't love like the way it sort of the movements of things sometimes, but I think it does look really. It still is great. Like it looks really great, and then
Mm.
it sounds great. And I think the only like the real reason it doesn't work for me is the story. The
Mm.
story is very basic, and I think it's poorly structured. So I don't care about Afro. I don't care about any of it. I just don't care enough. And the ideas that are really interesting come
Mhm.
at a point where because like it when it sort of rushed into it and didn't really give me time to care.
Yeah.
I think it just didn't like it. The best bits didn't hit that hard. Like I can sit here now and say yes, him having to kill like everybody to get the number
Mhm.
2 headband is great stuff. I can say that now. While I was watching it, I didn't care, and that
Mm.
is the biggest problem. But yeah, I think overall, Afro Samurai, I don't like it. I'd give it a C, but I think it's like it's one of those things that like if it got a remake, I think
It would
like
definitely been like a lot better than it was before.
if this got a remake, it could really like serve from a bit like a longer runtime, and I reckon it could work.
Mm. Not even a longer runtime. I guess like just 2 movies. I guess it would be enough for it.
Yeah, well, to be
You know
fair,
what I
it
mean?
is. Let's face it, it's 2 films already.
2 films, yeah, because it's like 5. It's 5 episodes in one movie.
It's
It's
2
basically a
hours
movie.
and 10 minutes, and then
Yeah,
an hour and 40 minutes.
yeah,
I watched Pulp Fiction the night before. That was 2.5 hours.
yeah.
Like it's not like there are longer films.
Mm. Okay, my final thoughts is that I totally understand where you're coming from. It could definitely be a little bit better, especially with where the time it was at, especially competing with anime, like with Death Note and stuff like
It
that.
did come out the same year
Um,
as Death Note, so
yeah. Um, but at least in my opinion, it feels like they don't care too much about the story. It feels like it has more ulterior motives outside the anime rather than inside. You know, it's like literally just one of those stylized action
it's style over
flicks
substance.
that, yeah, style over substance, yeah, most definitely, and which is not bad
It's not
per
necessarily
se.
bad. I think Edgar
Yeah,
Wright is very style over substance, but he is one of my favorite
yeah.
filmmakers.
Oof. Baby Driver. Oh
Oh,
my
that is my favorite film of all time.
god. Baby Driver's amazing.
Legit, in my top 10, Baby Driver, The World's End, and Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, World's End is definitely awesome. Love World. But yeah, yeah, it's definitely style over substance. And cultural, like in my side on a cultural standpoint, it's like it's
And
important
here
to
as well.
us on
And
as a
here as
culture, yeah, with Thai as well, because it's one of the first anime protagonists that we had on a representation standpoint, you know, because
and it's the
before
fact that
that,
it's Samuel L. Jackson as well. Like so
exactly,
anyone, like Samuel L. Jackson is legendary. Like he's a legendary actor. Period. Like Samuel
exactly,
Jackson, the fact that
Oh,
although he didn't say much as Afro, still,
I think
when I saw Afro Samurai in the film, I was gonna watch. I had to watch it.
I think
exactly,
I was a little bit spoilt by watching Pulp Fiction the night before because I knew what an amazing Samuel L. Jackson performance was,
yeah.
and then to just see like a not a meh.
Afro Samurai, like, you know, because especially it's like I don't think that he's done voice acting before, after, but like before Afro Samurai. I think this was one of his first approaches,
Was
and
it? He's been in a
one and only,
lot.
I
He
think.
must have done some voice work.
Oh no! He was in a cartoon as well, but of course, like they just asked him to come and scream on a microphone. He was like in this cartoon called Our Friend Martin, which was like a special thing that they would air in like American schools, like for Martin, like this kid, like these two kids going back in time to save Martin Luther
Doesn't
King
did you
from
guys know
getting
there was
shot.
an Afro Samurai video game?
Yeah, that was an Afro Samurai video game, but we don't talk.
Is it? Okay.
It was all right, I
He
guess.
did voicing. He did voices before that. He was the real Frozone in Mr. Incredible and
Yeah,
Pals.
yeah,
Incredible.
Incredibles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was Frozone in the Incredibles. Obviously, completely forgot about that. He
yeah.
was. Was he in the? Oh, he wasn't in the Clone Wars film, the Star Wars
No, he
one.
was Clone Wars. No, he definitely.
He was in the film, but he wasn't. He wasn't. He was in Attack of the Clones, but he wasn't in the Clone Wars film.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah, he's done that one that I told you about.
our friend Martin.
But I think it's like it, anime wise. I think that's his first.
Yeah,
Right?
anime wise, I think it's his first. It's just
And it's definitely a different genre than everything else.
he has done voice work before. I think his performance was very annoying as Ninja Ninja.
He did a good job.
If
Yeah, I
if
think
that
he
was
did a
the
good
point,
job.
he did a great job.
A
He did
really
an
good job.
amazing. He did the best job. But if it wasn't the
Yeah.
point to make me want to punch him in the face, then he failed.
But yeah, from a cultural standpoint, yeah, I do appreciate a lot Afro Samurai opening a door to other anime protagonists that are black, especially like not even
Did
anime
Boondocks
protagonists,
come
just
before
anime.
or after?
The Boondocks was definitely after.
No,
Yeah,
Boondocks was
Boondocks.
before.
Was it?
Boondocks
Was it
was
before?
2005
Wow.
to 2014.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Wow.
that's the first. That's gonna be the
No,
this
do
Afro
you
Samurai
think?
will be
Do you
the
think
second.
no? Because the Boondocks has been like a strip comic before. Or you talking really about the animation?
But like well, both. Like, if did you say it's based off of a strip comic?
Yeah, strip comic.
Then both
strip
came
comic
before
was way before.
Both came before because the anime
Yeah.
came out 2 years before. Like Boondocks, the anime came out 2 years before Afro Samurai.
Okay. Well, it was definitely one of the first, anyways.
Yeah, one of the first. Boondocks
Yeah.
right there.
Because
That's
Boondocks
another,
even
that's
fall.
another
Yeah, Boondocks falls under more of a different category than Afro Samurai.
Yeah, Afro Samurai is like sort of like
Yeah.
it's more of a narrative.
Afro Samurai is like, anime, and it has an anime protagonist, and Boondocks is more like a love letter and critique of black people, black culture in general.
Hmm.
And again, it falls under that category. Oh, is it really anime?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not. Both of them are appreciated though, and definitely like,
100%.
and before even
100%.
before that, we didn't have a great representation of black people, and I think
Actually, I'm gonna swerve. I've got a hot take. I think this is actually more. I think obviously in black culture on definitely reflects it, but I think it's actually more your side. Just because have you lived in America, Edson, or
nah, bro.
or have you never lived in America?
The only American perspective that I had was my uncle, and that was it. Like after that, it was just literally like me studying everything and like having like a lot of like black people around my life that had the, I would say, blessing and curse of being living in America, and like they taught me how to speak English and taught me all of this stuff. But yeah,
Wait,
I've never
were
been
they American? Were they American?
Yeah, they were American.
I'm guessing that's where you got your accent from then.
Yeah. I'm accent sponge. But only for American.
Okay, yeah. This may, do you know what? Boondocks and Afro Samurai actually may apply more to you than me, then. Really.
Not Afro Samurai.
Being African American,
Yeah.
Obviously,
but
being
not even African American, just black, being a black nerd in general.
Yeah. You're right.
Most definitely, like just being a black nerd in general. Because Boondocks, of course, is like more. It falls under more Adult Swim kind of ways because it talks about more adult topics. And at the time, I didn't know Boondocks. I've just known like Boondocks recently, 2-3 years ago. But Afro Samurai has been here because I've been a black nerd, and just to see like a samurai who was black, you know what I'm saying? While I was like craving to see like a black person that wasn't Piccolo in the screen, you know what I mean? So it was definitely something. Yeah, we're done. You don't have anything else to add?
No, I've said my piece.
Afro Samurai is legendary. And it will be remembered as one of the first black anime ever. And Josh is again chatting shit. And yeah, that's it.
It is definitely legendary. I don't think that he's saying that it could be better.
What I'm saying, I don't like it, but I understand like it did a lot for black people in representation. Yeah. It did a lot there.
Most
and
definitely.
like you can't take that away from it. It really, and it does have a lot of great stuff and a lot of good potential.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it is like, I think it's a poorly structured story, and I think like it doesn't have like as many elements that really hit.
It's the Black Panther of 2005.
I don't even 2007.
2007. There we go.
And I don't even think no, because Black Panther like it still had a very good like hero villain dynamic.
Oh, for sure. But I would say
to be fair, if we really want to go in depth in terms of Black Panther and black culture, Black Panther really shows way more about black culture, like way more. Like
it's way more.
You gotta remember,
African,
Afro Samurai.
Sure.
Yes, you gotta remember, Afro Samurai. Obviously, the casting is African American. African Americans, their whole culture is being diluted just because of white people and American white people. And them taking their culture, whatever. Black Panther is if nothing happened, if the slave trade or nothing else, nothing of that kind. If white people didn't do what they did. On that side, so it's way undiluted. You've got it's set in Africa for one. The culture is very, very, very prominent. Afro Samurai, you've got little hints. The music is the biggest one. The music is the biggest one with the you know, RZA and everything on the whole. Black Panther's on another level in terms of showing black culture.
That is true to an extent. I think I like because Black Afro Samurai did a lot to show anime to the main to like people, because especially like it was confirmed if Samuel Jackson was doing this stuff, it showed that he was like a great anime fan, and it opened a lot of doors for like black people to say, oh, I like anime, you know what I'm saying? um Black Panther did a lot for like showing the superhero genre to black people, and just in general to
Also, quick one last side note to end on. Black Panther was amazing in Civil War. Every line,
boy, that is why
every line out of his mouth in Civil War was just, it was badass on top of badass on top of badass.
That is precisely my problem with Black Panther, because it was like you see him killing it in Civil War, but then it was just like a generic hero.
Where he goes, don't worry, I'll kill him myself. Just like the king of like that was like, I remember the YouTube critic Jeremy Jahns. He said, like that's like if Obama went, don't worry, I'll kill him myself.
Yeah,
that's just
like fucking hell. It's like, oh, he said something about when he was inside of the car, like, oh, I'm a warrior and my dad was a king, but now he's dead. So now I'm gonna take his throne. So as a warrior and a king, how long do you think that you keep your friend from me? Like, what the fuck? Who says that?
That is my favorite. That is my favorite MCU film. That is my favorite MCU film. And
I would have shit my pants if somebody said that to
right there. Oh my gosh, he was up. And you know what the funniest thing was? People say shit like this, but they don't mean it. This guy was really on it. Like, he was not joking.
He meant it.
Like, he really said to them, look, how long realistically, really think about it. How long can you keep him from me? They didn't even give him an answer. They didn't even answer him.
How can you answer something like that?
They were scared.
Oh God, I would have been scared. No. Like, that is a great note to end on, I think.
Everybody's talking about fucking, I can do this all day on Civil War. I'm here fucking like being threatened by Black Panther.
Right, I think that's a great place to end on. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode. Check out all of our socials.
Hell yes, come back next week. We got some great topics coming in. We definitely need to talk about Iron Man, even if Josh is not here, because that shit has been tormenting me.
Josh, you need to finish that, man. Josh, come on.
Got this down. Right, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell for new episodes every week. Mondays at 5 PM, no matter how close I cut it on the editing.
Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, and everywhere.
We're not on there yet.
Yes. Actually, we'll be there. By the time it's out, we'll be on there.
Okay. Exactly. So, yeah, stay safe. Stay at home, watch anime, and listen to us.
Bye.
Bye.